I was still comfortable with corporate, but then I was like, you know what? Why don't there's people asking me, can you come and do this for us?
Oh, really?
Then that
Okay.
tapped something else,
Okay.
you know? Can you come and do this for us? We want a chair. Maybe can you come and look at my house? Then that kind of taps a different muscle.
Okay.
Because now I'm doing it privately,
Okay.
you know, aside from doing it for work.
Often when one is starting and growing a business, for me, one of the most important things is how to bring money into the business. If there's no money in the business, there's no business.
Yeah.
And you did such a practical thing by looking for opportunity.
I have two little ones. And I don't know if I'm right. I mean, I can be convinced otherwise, but then I'm not taking them to school for the office.
Okay.
Hi there. Welcome to Monetize Your Business podcast conversations in partnership with FNB. Welcome to yet another week of fabulous, insightful conversations with entrepreneurs that are movers and shakers within their field of expertise. But before we get into our guest for today, I want to pick the brain of our co-pilot, Papa Biz. How are you this week?
I'm great. Excellent. Glad to be here again.
Fantastic. And how's your week been? Any aha moments? Anything sticking out for you?
You know, I've been reading Why the Rich Get Richer by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
And there was a part that really resonated with me where it reminded me about 15 years ago when we were still quite heavily in corporate, myself as well, and reading those type of books. And we're actually at a crossroads. I remember being at the crossroads where it was very clear that am I going to invest time to get more titles in terms of MBA, CFA, doctorate? Am I going to invest time there, or am I going to invest time in entrepreneurial education? And it was quite a crossroads because at that point I knew that there were going to be very, very different ways to go through. And at that time, I remember making the decision that I'm actually going to invest in entrepreneurial education. And these were in the forms of seminars, you know, courses and things like that. And I remember some of my colleagues wondering, why are you going to such a seminar to learn about social media? Do you just poke somebody? And he just didn't get it. And it's amazing how over time, consistently just investing in what a change that is make. And that's part of what he was talking about in this book in terms of that the rich get richer by, you know, focusing on very specific education and also learning a new vocabulary around money. And even in terms of entrepreneurship, it's very basic things that we don't get taught in schools, like how to sell, how to market, how to identify good people to add into your team.
Yes.
When to know that you can't be doing this on your own, how to raise capital. But it's all different types of questions that, you know, one wouldn't really understand unless you invest time in it. So I was just reminded about it, and it was even made me question how many seminars have I actually attended this year? That's where we learn as entrepreneurs. How many courses have I participated in this year to really stretch and grow, and sometimes even just refresh my mind? Because once we at a place where we believe that we know everything, that's when our businesses start dying.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place to be in, when we kind of think we know everything. And it's quite interesting because it's true. What we focus on multiplies. So whatever education we then pump into ourselves will then determine where we go in our businesses or in our career.
100%. I mean, even something as basic as learning to speak publicly.
Yes.
Because
yes.
in sales, we are in business, we are always speaking to the public, whether it's to clients or to potential investors. And if you fumble, I mean, nobody's going to put any credence into what you're saying. And you need to learn those skills and invest time in that.
I resonate with that. Both the soft and the hard skills, I think, is quite a big one. Sure. Thank you so much for sharing that. Today, we are having an interesting conversation with Thato Debetle, who is an entrepreneur within the decor space. But it's not just hanging up of curtains. If that's what you think decor is about,
Then it's not
trust
this.
me,
As she told us.
you're going to get a very rude awakening, because she's actually going to share with us a lot more of the technical skill and intricacies that is involved in her area of expertise. Thato, welcome to today's conversation.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
one.
you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you here. Before we get into the intricacies of TT Decor, can you just tell us a little bit more about the person behind the brand, Thato? Who are you? Where were you born? Were you raised, etc.?
Well, I am a local girl. I'm born and raised here in Pretoria.
Fantastic.
One of those boring ones who never go anywhere.
Well, let's
Stuck here. But then, yes, so I'm from a small town at Chidgeville.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I've been here all my life.
Yeah.
But then, luckily, through my work, I get to travel and get to see other places. But then I've always been a creative from a very young age, doodling on the paper and so on and so forth. My dad was also a creative as well. Yeah, lover of sports as well. So, yeah, creative, like to notice, details. My grandmother was also a seamstress.
Okay.
So I took a liking into, just being creative, whether it be in fashion.
Yes.
So architecture was actually not even an idea. I mean, you can imagine a small town girl, architecture is not something you really pay attention to. But then through growing up, then I was like, what do I do with this creativity that's going to make me have money, and not be broke, from just doing art, So then I thought fashion design, because I was into fashion. I loved dressing up. My grandmother as well. But then I was like, but there's so much competition.
Yes.
So how do I also do something that will stretch me?
Yes.
Then I thought, why not architecture? But then architecture then seemed too technical in terms of being creative. Then I gravitated more towards interior design.
Okay.
Lovely.
And then through that journey, working for corporate, then I decided to open my own business 2017. And
So did you study interior design at school?
Correct.
I see.
So how did you do interior design in a corporate? How does that work?
So corporates, obviously, within the organization, they need space planning.
Oh.
So you would have even for, let's say, F&B, for instance, they would need to space plan which division sits with which division. So the different departments, how do they operate and so on. The branches, somebody has to design the look and feel of the branches. So there is an interior architectural division that will then do that. They will plan and work with the architects and also design the look and feel from tiling to lighting. So you don't just walk into a building and it's there.
There's proper personality.
Yeah. So there is now corporate are actually, instead of consulting and getting the service, they are having in-house interior designers who actually design, because they refurbish their look.
True.
They refurbish their brand. So it's always better for them to also work with graphic designers.
Yes.
So graphic designers will come through with the look, and the marketing will also come through with how to market. And then the interior designers have to then carry that look and feel within the building.
Okay.
I mean, F&B already has a template.
Yes.
Discovery or whatever. They have a template. So when you walk into a branch, you already can identify that this is F&B, for instance, because that was thought of and then designed from the chair to the carpet.
Wow.
And then how are you in corporate?
True. I was in corporate from 2008 till 2017.
Okay, that's new.
So So
Wow. And how was your experience in corporate?
It was good. I had great bosses who weren't selfish with imparting knowledge, which really added. But I think what helped me as well was that I was curious and I wanted to not be stuck in one area.
Yeah.
So there were corporate companies that I would work with that were more technical. So I would practice that, and then I would reach a point where I was like, okay, I still want to now do the more creative stuff and learn to design more aesthetically versus just being technically bound.
Yes.
So then I would move. So I kept moving. And then after that, I was like, no, okay, it's nice to be creative, but how do I cost for this business? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Then I worked for a company that does its own costing. How do I engage with clients? Because some companies you're not even allowed to engage with. Because you're a designer.
Background.
Yes.
I see.
So I got little bits of everything from everyone till I was then comfortable enough to say, you know what, I can actually try and do this for myself.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wasn't that scary?
It was, because I didn't really know if I would be able to. You know, you question. You want to be big, but you don't know how.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was scary, because now the comfort of corporate, knowing that I'll get a salary,
Yeah.
versus now having to get that salary for myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and getting clients to also believe that now that I'm alone, I can still give them
can
that,
still do it.
you know, without the support of what I would have in a corporate, the different departments. Now I have to create those departments myself.
I
So,
want to check now. It's not everybody would follow that path. I would often meet people in corporate where, because of their thinking or where they came from, just to be able to be earning a salary that was great. And they're always thinking about how much higher salary they can achieve. For you, while you were in corporate during that period, did you have it in your mind that potentially one day I'd like to have my own thing, or did it just happen by accident?
I think it happened by accident, to be honest, because when I was in corporate, obviously you look at, oh, maybe one day I'll be a manager. Oh, maybe the next year I'll be head of design.
Okay.
You know, but then when you see that it doesn't necessarily happen that way, and you want to see yourself far greater than where you are, but you know that the manager is probably going to stay there for quite some time before I become manager.
Yeah.
You know, then your mind kind of shifts. So then I was still comfortable with corporate, but then I was like, you know what? Why don't there's people asking me, can you come and do this for us?
Oh, really?
Then that
Okay.
tapped something else,
Okay.
you know? Can you come and do this for us? We want a chair. Maybe can you come and look at my house? Then that kind of taps a different muscle.
Okay.
Because now I'm doing it privately.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, aside from doing it for work. And then the demand grows.
Yes.
And then I'm like, okay, perhaps I can see what else from corporate
Okay.
I can then
Yes.
still do, you know, for myself. So I started off just reupholstering chairs.
Okay.
Not even, as a side hustle, because I didn't want the conflict of interest.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, if I reupholster chairs, then all of a sudden someone was like, okay, I want reupholstery of my chairs, and you can maybe redo the kitchen.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it started growing and growing. And then now I'm at corporate, having to go to the office, and my private clients want me. So now
It's quite a balancing act.
Yeah. So then when I landed a big space planning gig for MTN,
Okay.
and then I was like, I can pay off my car. Then I was like,
It's time.
this is about, let me,
Yeah.
but I wasn't even sure, because I think 6 months, then I was like, apart from this big project that I have, I now have to get others that are equally as big.
Yes.
And I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, you know, it was almost impulsive of me to be like, okay, this is a big client, I'm going to quit. But I didn't have any plan as to how further am I going to take it, and is it really going to happen? And then, but you know, when you name drop, I'm doing this for, unfortunately, people are impressionable, and
Of
they
course.
are,
Of course.
so I'm doing this for MTN. Oh, you must come and do our telecom shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I was like, okay, so now the animal is growing,
Yes.
taking shape into something else. now I'm shop fitting for telecom stores.
Wow,
That's
look at that.
brilliant.
Yeah, and then now another name drop. So now the corporates are now like, okay, you did that for a bigger corporate.
Yes.
Then you
It
should
means
be able.
you can do
You
it.
can be able to
Yeah.
handle
Yeah,
in the
a
professionalism.
corporate portfolio.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, so
And I guess it does make a difference. It's an unfortunate stigma. When I used to work corporate, I was in a bank for just under a decade. And one of the things they'd talk about is if they get black service providers, is that they complain about the level of professionalism. We don't know if we can go with them. We'll just
Yeah.
use Yaku's company or whatever the case is.
yeah,
And so I think what I'm hearing from you is you may not have been aware of it at the time, but just by that one corporate client, it already sent a signal like, hey,
yeah.
I'll deliver.
Yeah.
She can, but that stigma as well is still. I mean, as a black female, I still have so much to prove. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like I've had to even though I got those, there was a question of how and why. So how did she learn telecom? I mean, she doesn't even have an office. She's operating from home, as a one-man band. So I've had to also find my footing in actually not feeling as though because I'm black I'm unable to do it, but having to prove, even though I have a lot to prove, but with time and with actually doing the work, I'm comfortable to say yes, I did it, not because of merit and because of work, not because of BE.
Yes.
Or even though I know that I have to work harder than Yaku,
Yes.
I stay up because I have to work harder than Yaku to prove that
Get the job done.
Yes, I mean there's been teething issues. Yes, there's things you learn, things that I was not necessarily exposed to.
Yeah.
Even now, there's things that I'm still kind of unpacking. But like you were saying, why do they not teach this to us in high school?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, why is it business economics and not you need to have ethics. You need to value time.
Yes.
Simple things. You also need you need to take time, be mindful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. I mean, take time to meditate because you can't just be on the go
The whole time.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you'll need to actually get the right people, not necessarily your friends.
Yeah.
Not
That's
it's
one.
not just who you know; it's who is right for the job. There's a lot of things. So I always say I have two little ones, and I don't know if I'm right. I mean, I can be convinced otherwise, but then I'm not taking them to school for the office.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like they need to know that they don't have to work for corporate. There's something greater that they can actually look forward to. I'm training them to be more entrepreneurial, to believe in their skills more than having to go to. I'm not taking them to school for the office and to be managers. So
they can build their thing.
no, absolutely.
I wanted to check with you because the way you talk about it, even in terms of the first, big client that you got, and I'm sitting looking back as, somebody that may have been in your position. How did you get over, because I've learned the vocabulary now, how did you get over the imposter syndrome? So now you're going to be working with these companies and it's going to be on your own. But I mean, in your mind, hey, I'm a one-man band.
Yeah.
How did you go about getting over that to even then go and get a second client?
Yeah, I've always heard fake it till you make it. And I think as an art student, we never really care, we come as we are.
Okay.
So, because I remember, I think I've driven the same car from when I started actually. And there was one guy who was like, the way you carry yourself in the meeting, I would have expected you to be parking something with more muscle. You know what I mean? So like you're saying, to have to conform to being something that you're not. But I've as a business owner that pushes creatives to be creative, I've always been comfortable with being myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very
Because I can't tell a creative to wear a suit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I used to not work, even though I worked for corporate, there were times where they were like, oh, girl, you came dressed like that. You know, all stars for a bank. But yes, so I think I've managed it. I've been fortunate to manage it.
Okay.
But I have had instances where I walk in the room and I feel like this is far greater than me.
Wow.
You know?
And I guess it's
It
natural
happens,
to-
yeah. I mean, it happens where people speak a big talk, you know.
Yeah.
But I've learned that there's big fishes in small ponds. I've come. I think with learning and experience, I like. For me, you don't just talk; you back it up.
100%.
So I've come to. I think it also comes with maturity, whereas before it's intimidating, and you're like, "Yo, can I fit in here?" But then after a while, you've been turned down. You've been let down so many times by these people wearing suits that now you see it for what it is, and then there's no need to pretend anymore. You just come, and it's either you believe that I can do the job, or you don't.
Yeah.
Now, I want to check,
You know?
how would you go about getting, especially in the beginning, how would you go about getting new clients? Was it something deliberate where you'd look, through your network and communicate, hey, I've done this for MTN? Or is it something where you go to seminars or you'd advertise on social media? How did you go about?
Yeah, nobody would believe me. I did do networks. I don't know if I got a lot of businesses from networks, to be honest. But you know what I did? I called.
Really?
Really? And that's something a lot of people are afraid to do.
There was at least 2 days in a week where I was like, as I drive, I would identify businesses and buildings.
Okay.
And then I'll be like, oh, they're building a new building there. They'll probably need a designer. They're building and then check the name. Who's the architect? Do you guys need a designer? Do you literally.
Yeah.
I called. And then you follow up as well. Called. Can I register on your database? And then I did follow-ups. What do you need from me? So yeah, a lot of sucking up here and there.
Sure,
but then
so you have to be proactive.
Absolutely. But the work as well, at least, was building my portfolio. So that helped as well.
That's brilliant.
And yeah, so I think I'm only depending a lot on networks as now as a grown up. I can say a little bit of a grown up. But when I started, it was lonely.
Of course.
Very lonely. No one doesn't believe in you until they see. They want proof, So I had to kind of take my ingredients, see how to put them together to get somewhere. But yeah, I was relentless.
Wow.
Sure, that is amazing. That's absolutely fantastic. And currently, where would you say the business is at, TT Decor?
Currently, I have staff members, which is great. That's another headache. I don't want to say a headache as such, because I didn't think I'd have employees when I started by myself.
Yeah.
We have a studio, whereas before I was working from home.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, so employees, we're growing our clientele as well. We still want to obviously expand. Looking at furniture manufacturing and
Really?
yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because that's quite an expansion.
Yeah, right. Especially because we're starting small. I'm very humble at humble beginnings now. Because when you talk manufacturing, people thinking like warehouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we do our manufacturing by hand machinery. But I promise you the quality of our work is as good as CNC machines.
Yes.
So we want to see how far we can grow it so far that we even get SABS approved at some point.
Oh, fantastic.
But then right now we want funding. We want to actually acquire funding so that we can get the suitable workspace, the suitable machinery, and to expand. So just to simplify my answer, I have employees, I have different divisions. Because the nice thing about my business is that when design is quiet, manufacturing is busy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's nice.
So
It's like multiple streams of income within one business.
exactly.
That's brilliant.
And because we also build, if manufacturing is quiet, the guys are busy on site. They're retiling, they're refurbishing, they're doing ceilings. So I try to kind of diversify the scope of work so that there's something that is able to pour into the business so that it's not completely dead.
Yes.
So the challenge now is just managing staff and processes and procedures.
Yes.
Because of me being so used to doing things for myself, now having that trust to that somebody else will take care of this little baby like I did and grow it.
Actually, let's touch on that a little bit. When now going on your own after leaving corporate, what are some of the challenges that you experienced where you think, I actually hadn't thought about this, eh? So, I mean, you mentioned staff.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been a challenge where it's actually different compared. People don't understand it's different having staff that you pay as opposed to when you're in corporate and you have people, that report to you.
Yeah. So I think for me is the demand, especially being alone, that the client would even feel like, don't tell me about your other clients. I thought that, if I deliver, then you should be, but like now I'm getting multiple clients and clients are not necessarily, they don't care that you're one person in a business.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. They'll even say, don't tell me that you had another meeting. This is what I need now. I never thought it would be like that because in corporate, we managed it in such a way that you would believe that they'd be like, okay, no, when you're finished with that, then you'll attend to this. So that was something that I was like, okay, now it means that I have to stay up late. It means that I have to take longer. And what other thing would I say? I didn't think that it would be as technical when coming to also managing my own budget project, because now I'm designing and managing the budget for the client to make sure that what I said will be delivered is delivered. So they pay me the money and I have to now manage that deliverable and pay myself. And
there's a lot of things you now need to take into consideration that you probably didn't even need to think about before. Sure.
So it's like, okay, so how do I still give them a quality? Because then there were times where the budget that was allocated fully went to the project.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then I never thought that I had to now work out how to get profits over and above wanting them to have a beautiful end product that is going to market the company. You don't really think of that when you're starting. You're like excited to get projects and you're happy with the little profit, but is the little profit sustainable? And does it make up for the time you spent? So now I had to think of it that way, that they're gonna live in this beautiful home, but then now what I got, the payout I got, is enough for just a month.
Wow.
I should have stretched it out a bit for at least 3 months. You know what I mean? So those were things that were like a bit of a surprise, but especially now that I had to manage them by myself. But we're getting there.
Do you work more with corporate organizations now or with individuals?
So we dabble between both.
Okay.
But we are selective within residential based on the scope, because residential is more personal. It takes more time because the person wants it. It's their home. You can't blame them for, you know what I mean? So then that takes a bit more time. Whereas corporate, like I said, there's a CI that you follow and you deliver, and they are then happy with that. Whereas now with residential, we might have to take a bit more time. It may be a bit more tedious because, I thought this would come out like this, but it actually, it came out differently, whereas corporate already has a template
Absolutely.
and they already know.
Yes, there's a foundation with which you can work with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So interesting. It's such a fascinating space because there are different moving parts. There's almost like the architectural element of it.
Yeah.
Then there's the design element of it, the beauty element, the aesthetic element of it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's also like the technical where it's refurbishing, etc. It's just so interesting.
Very layered.
And I'm sure it stretches different parts of your brain as well.
Listen, every day.
Yeah.
Every moment, every day.
Yeah.
It's not just accounts. Like what you're saying, technical, but it's the builders as well. You have to manage you manage the builders. They tell you they're out of material.
Oh my goodness.
So it's not just technically on plan. They're out of material. You have
And
to
you
get
budgeted and you what do you mean
This-
out of material?
yeah, scope creeps. Or the client is like, this is not working. We might have to revise this to turn it, rotate it. But then they think rotating it is as easy as rotating it. But then you need the plumber in, you need the electrician in. So it's a domino effect on everything prior. Then you have to then re-quote them before it can be done. So it's very layered. But I always say that if you've planned it correctly, it also comes the project management aspect.
Yeah.
If you've planned it correctly, obviously knowledge is power, but so is planning. That's what I'm finding now, that the more planning and the more preparation we put in, it eliminates a lot of the little headaches that we may encounter if we have not planned. Then it's far worse.
Absolutely.
So what I'm finding is that not necessarily just investing in employees, but you have to now invest in employees that know what they're doing to eliminate those mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Got the right skill, knowledge, technical expertise, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge because the employees that know are not cheap.
They're not cheap, yeah.
Are not cheap.
True.
So as a small business, now you're like
Trying to weigh up the two.
Yeah. So it's been a fun journey, but we keep going.
Yeah.
And
that's brilliant.
Thank
That's absolutely brilliant. For an entrepreneur that's watching, maybe they are growing their own business. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs in their journey?
Yeah, I think I would say research and prepare, I know it's like, it seems tedious. I mean, I was excited to just dive in, but I wish if I had done my homework, I feel like I would have been further.
Wow.
You know what I mean? If I'd actually even taken a course on finances or project management, so areas that I needed to strengthen, aside from just knowing how to design, but areas to know when running a business.
Yes.
It would have helped. So I would say prepare. Like, it's all good and well, and yes, do it. Start something, but start something that you have prepared for. And then you'll still make mistakes. But then at least you have some sort of insight than going in blindly, So
Makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
Sure, I've gotten such amazing nuggets and such a wonderful journey that you've had, and it's so interesting to hear about it. Papa Biz, let me kind of throw the ball back into your court. What have been your big takeaways from our conversation with Thato?
The one takeaway, and it's actually very practical, that I've taken away, I'm going to utilize. Often when one is starting and growing a business, for me, one of the most important things is how to bring money into the business. If there's no money in the business, there's no business.
Yeah.
And you did such a practical thing by looking for opportunity.
Yeah, I like that.
Often people come to me and they'll ask, no, but what opportunity exists? There's no opportunity anywhere. But you need to train your mind to see opportunity. And, just that simple act you spoke about by driving around, looking at buildings that are being done or coming up, and you think, who's here? Who's the architect? And cold calling. And that's something where, you said it lightly, but that's a lot of rejection. That's a lot of no's, or we're not interested, or who are you?
100%.
And yet you did it. And by going through that, it got your foot in the door with 1 or 2 places and 1 or 2 more meetings just to be able to get business going. I mean, that story for me is just a perfect example of how, you cannot steer a parked car. And by you taking that action, you are moving. I mean, this vehicle was in motion. And I like that. I'm going to utilize that.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is such a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I really like how you've been able to also detail the fact that you were a one-man band in the beginning. And that's how a lot of us start out. And then, of course, over time, you begin to grow the business. You begin to put systems in place. But I think your journey is also a reminder to us that we're constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly improving ourselves. I don't think there's that finish line that we actually reach. We're always growing, always improving, and just being open to learning something new.
100%.
I think has actually been quite phenomenal. Thato, if a person wants to reach out to you, to TT Decor, they want to utilize your services or even just keep in touch with you, how do they do that?
So can I give out my email?
Yes, please do.
So they can reach me at thato@ttdeco.co.za. I'm not sure about my number, but my handle on Instagram is Thato at TT Deco Projects.
Okay.
TT Deco and then _projects.
Projects, okay.
So they can reach me there, DM me, but they can also send me an email and then I will respond.
All right. Fantastic.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. I'm quite sure it's definitely going to inspire someone. And it also just shows the intricacies of the detail of the type of work that you do.
Yeah.
And it's not just hanging curtains. People need to know that. All right, monetizers, that brings us to the end of today's conversation. Please let us know in the comment section what aha moments you've had, what you enjoyed the most, and any gems that Thato dropped that really resonated with you. Let's continue the conversation within the comment section. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. It's at Monetize Your Business, and make sure you're plugging into our physical and online masterclasses as well. Until our next conversation, bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Nice one.